In the past as well as today, equipment of varying types are used in a foundry in Sri Lanka in the art of casting metal. Metal statues indicate the peak of achievement in this realm, and two methods of casting were used, one for bronze and the other for brass. Copper was alloyed with tin to make bronze, and copper was alloyed with zinc to make brass. Bronze casting was commonly used in statues in Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa, while brass was common in the transition period and in Kandyan times. The period between the 4th and 10th centuries CE represents the golden age of bronze statuary in Sri Lanka. Many of the bronze artifacts that have become part of the World Heritage were statues created during this period. It has been determined through analysis and research these statues were created by two schools of artists. Even at the time that there was knowledge of metal alloys as suited for casting during the Anuradhapura period, those technicians who worked in the foundries were also aware of the possibility with brass casts. During Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa eras, 90% of copper as needed for the statues was mined from local sources, such as at Seruvilla, copper lode. Lead and zinc were, however, procured from overseas. Evidently, Buddha statues as well as those of Hindu deities were produced in Lanka. Like their Indian counterparts, local sculptors also used both solid and hollow casting methods. Statues created with metal casts is both an art and an ancient craft that required the intervention of science. Rajaguru Mulachari is a traditional foundry craftsman who lives in a historical village called Vatura. He is the contemporary master in a lineage of foundry craftsmen who still practices his art and is joined by his offspring who consider their work as being part of a national service. Solid and hollow casting methods differ slightly from each other. In solid casting, the statue is made with wax and covered with clay. Then the wax is removed after melting it, and molten metal is poured into the space. When the clay cover is dismantled, a solid statue is revealed. With the hollow casting method, the mold is first made with clay. A seasoned mixture of wax and wood resin is used to cover it. The quality of the final creation depends on the correct proportions and the subtle way the features of the statues are carved and shaped. clay must be seasoned before being applied on the mold. Nails are fixed into the mold to keep the outer clay coverings firm so the shape remains unchanged when the inner wax mold melts and is removed. A wax funnel is fixed to the mold to be able to pour in the molten metal. Soft clay is applied over the mold to keep the shape of the wax mold. Soft clay is made with soil that has been sifted well and also incorporates pulverized rock. The next step is to apply the thick clay. The soil is sifted through a net of 10 squares per square inch. That clay is mixed with powdered rock, which must not contain any shiny graphite. The mold is now sun-dried. Then it is kept in an oven and the wax within melts and is poured out. Before the molten metal is introduced into the mold, the funnel is cleared. After that, the mold is burnt on fire with coconut husks until it turns red. The crucible is made with a mix of graphite and milky clay, which is pounded 1 foot per inch. The crucible is heated with a flame that is energized with the help of bellows. When brass is smelting as desired, the crucible gives out a blue light. At this point, the crucible is cleaned, removing the ash. The heated mold is taken off the fire and positioned. The crucible is taken out of the furnace and the molten metal is poured into the mold. After the mold has cooled, it is broken up and the statue is revealed. Next, the craftsman uses a fine file to give the exquisite finishing touches to the statue. The statue of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva and the Buddha statues excavated from Veragala can be considered the best examples of ancient castes. These statues are the pride of Lankans and considered a world heritage today. The Badulla bronze statue and the massive bronze statue found in Pallama can be counted as masterpieces of hollow cast sculptures by the people of Lanka. For maintaining the accurate shape and stance of the statues, sometimes iron nails and rods are used. The head and the body of very large statues are cast separately and fitted together with the use of iron stirrups or anchors. The methods for casting in metal and the creation of metal alloys are described in the volume Shariputraya, written in the 8th century CE. Although both solid and hollow casting methods are used for Buddha statues, the ancient writings advocate the use of solid casting in creating statues of the Buddha. In addition to statuary, bronze and gold coins were also cast in ancient times in Sri Lanka. The Lakshmi coin was cast of pure bronze. A gold coin manufacturing facility was discovered during excavations at the Abhayagiri project. Crucibles, coin molds, coins and gold biscuits used in the process of production were discovered. In coin production, the two sides of the coin were carved on wood. Then, clay applied on it, and the molten metal was poured. Although metal casting is very easily done with modern technology available today, the products of the present can hardly match the creativity of the ancient foundry. And that is why the ancient crafts and craftsmen are revered even today.